Hello Walnut families, this is Mr. Singh.
And I'm Mrs. DeTomasi.
And we're here to share a few messages with you as we enter this final phase of school closure. So as we begin to enter phase 3 of distance learning, one of the things that we want to share with you, and the most important thing, is that we miss you. We really miss all of you, and we miss the hustle and bustle of the month of May at Walnut. So this is a month where we know that summer is coming, but there's still a lot of learning to do here in this final phase of school. And this is especially true for our 6th grade students, and they begin to participate in these activities that I like to look at as the rite of passage. So many of our 6th graders have been here for 7 years. They started kindergarten here at Walnut, and this is a time where they get to start doing all these fun activities where they get to show all the learning that they've done come through and these different project-based learning activities. I think of Space Pods comes to mind. I think about all the fun we have with their Olympics activity. We think about Market Day. And so we're not going to have that this year, and we know that, and that's our reality. And so we know that there's nothing that we can do to replace that for you. And so all we can share is that as we think about all of you, all of our students, just know that we miss you and we understand that this is an incredibly difficult time. But in true Walnut spirit, we are doing everything we can. And when I say we, I talk about us, I talk about our amazing teachers, I talk about our parents and especially our students, and everyone coming together to do what we can to try to finish this year off strong, right? Finish strong. That's a message that I want you to keep in the back of your mind, the front of your mind, wherever it needs to be to help you remember that we still have a few weeks of school left before we actually finish up. So I'm going to share a little bit about where we're at with learning, both for our students and our parents. So we are entering phase 3, which will run from May 4th through May 22nd. So here's the difference between what's going to happen with learning in these next 3 weeks versus what's been happening in the last 2 months. The big difference is that the last 2 months, since we've closed in March, we were providing a lot of review material. Just going back, filling in gaps, giving you an opportunity to keep up on some of the things that you've already learned this year. Phase 3 is going to look a little different because now we're going to be sharing with you some new material, some of those essentials, things that we know you're going to need in the next grade level. So if you're a 2nd grader moving on to 3rd grade, we want to front load you with some of that material. We want to give you some of that essential curriculum, some of that essential standards that you're going to need as you move into the next grade level. So this is what we need you to do. So as we talk about finishing strong, we need you to stay engaged. We need you to do your best to keep up on the work that your teachers are working really hard to provide for you. Every teacher, every one of them, and we can promise you that because we've talked to, we've been emailing, texting, whatever it takes, meeting with every teacher at Walnut, and every one of them has a plan to help their students stay engaged in these last few weeks. It's going to look different from teacher to teacher. A lot of teachers are using platforms like Google Classroom. They might be communicating with you through Zoom or Google Meet. Whatever method that they're using to communicate, just know that your teacher has a plan. So we need you students to stay engaged. Parents, we need your support to continue to encourage your students to stay engaged, do their best, and again, finish strong. The material has been handed out on Thursday the 30th and May 1st. Hard copies. You can also access the same materials online if you weren't able to come through our drive-through, and you can do that at the TUSD Distance Learning webpage. All right. So I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. DeTomasi for a little bit. She's going to talk about some tips to help all of you during this closure.
Thank you, Mr. Singh.
Yeah.
I have some distant learning tips for you. So create and maintain a daily routine. This is really going to help you stay engaged. It's going to be a great way for you to make sure that you help out around the house, maybe, that you include that in your routine, but also just checking your online learning communications so that you don't miss some deadlines or some meetings. So it's just a really good way to put that into part of your daily routine. The other thing that would be helpful is if you create a space, if you haven't already, that supports your learning time, kind of a quiet space that will help you stay focused, and you can have your materials there so you don't have to keep getting up and moving around, but just a kind of a quiet space for you to be able to do your distance learning. Make sure that you do your assignments to the best of your ability. We really want to see what you're learning, and so we're looking for you to make sure to show what you're learning so that we have a sense of how we can help you with that. Which, if you are having some struggles with your learning, make sure you contact your teacher if you need support. They're there for you, and they really are counting on you to reach out to them. And I also want to suggest that you learn to take time for yourself, take care of yourself, do the best that you can each day with what you have available. And I just wanted to kind of share a funny saying with you, because those of you who are getting to know me know I always have something funny to say. But some things are just better not spread too thin. Yourself and peanut butter.
Thank you, Mrs. DeTomasi. I always appreciate her humor. So I want to carry on a message that Mrs. DeTomasi was sharing, and that is, we know that the experience every family is having is different at this time. Some of you have families, have parents, other people in your family who are home, who are there to help you with your homework. They're able to help keep you on a routine. We know some families don't have that opportunity. We know that we have a lot of Walnut families who are essential workers, and they're working in many different industries to help keep us, our community, all of us safe. So we understand that, and we absolutely respect that. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're struggling, whether it be academics, whether it be social emotionally, reach out. We're here to help. We're here to support you. Your teacher is a great person. We are great people to also reach out to. We want to make sure that you feel supported during this time. And so if you reach out and you let us know, we're more than happy to help you with that. A few of the things that we want to point out before we wrap up. We know that there are a lot of questions about, when am I going to get my yearbook? How do I give back the musical instruments that I have at home? Or how do I get the musical instruments that are on campus? We know that those questions are floating around. In the next few weeks, we will have a plan to share with you on how those things will happen. Yearbooks are pretty much done, and they are going to be shipped out here pretty soon in the early part of May, and we will have a plan to get those out. I'm sure you can understand that there are a lot of things that we need to coordinate when it comes to things that need to come back to school, materials that you have, library books, textbooks, and there are a lot of things that we want to get back to you. We have some awesome projects, activities, learning things that you've done here at school that we need to get back to you. We understand that. We want you to know that we are absolutely working on that, and we'll have a plan for you soon that we will share out, both using our social media pages, using the calls and text messages that we've been sending out. And also along those lines, we know that third trimester report cards will be sent out as well in early June, and that will be done through mail. All right. I just want to reiterate one important message, and that is finish strong. We know, again, that this is a different time, and we are asking you to do things, students, that are very different, right? We always talk about coming to school and how important that is, and now we're asking you to stay home, stay safe, right? Use all those social distancing, physical distancing strategies that are important to keep you safe, wearing a mask when you're out in public. So as you do all of that, we know, again, that this is a different time for you. This is a different time for us, right? And we're all finding a way to adjust to our new normal, right? But we do look forward to having you back to school for the 2020-2021 school year. It's going to look different, and we know that. But we're going to do whatever it takes to keep you safe, keep you healthy, and do whatever it takes to make sure that any learning that you missed in this year, we're going to absolutely, please be assured that we are, for the next school year, going to figure out how to fill those gaps for our students so that they leave Walnut as sixth graders strong and ready to enter middle school and junior high. Mrs. DeTomasi?
So I have a quick poem about doing your best by Barbara Vance. Your best. If you always try your best, then you'll never have to wonder about what you could have done if you summoned all your thunder. And if your best was not as good as you hoped it would be, you still could say, I gave today all that I had in me. Thank you, Walnut Magneteers.
Thank you, Magneteers. We look forward to seeing you when we can.